In John chapter 1, verse 22, this questioning of John the Baptist about his identity continues. 22 says, "So they said to him, 'Who are you?' We need to give an answer to those who sent us." The point I take from this, just by way of practical application, is don't be surprised if the people that you would have expected to supported you in doing the work of the Lord are the people that often question you or put you on trial or criticize you the most. Oftentimes this has been the case throughout history. You would expect God's people to receive God's prophets, but they persecuted them, they killed them. And this will be the case with John the Baptist, with Jesus Christ. "What do you say about yourself?" they asked him. He said, "I am the voice of one crying out in the wilderness, 'Make straight the way of the Lord,' as the prophet Isaiah said." Isaiah said that in Isaiah chapter 40, verses 3 through 5. Now think about maybe something you've seen depicted in a movie about a king coming into town and all these servants beside him in whatever he's coming into town in, and they're clearing the road. They're telling people to get out of the way, clear the way, the king is coming through. Make straight his paths, make it to where he can enter without any obstacles. And that's the way John perceived himself in relation to Christ. Now the people that had been questioning John the Baptist, it says, now they had been sent from the Pharisees. I want to speak briefly about the Pharisees. This is the first time that John's gospel speaks of the Pharisees and introduces them, and they're a very key character in the gospel stories because they are the greatest nemesis of Christ's ministry. In fact, they're agents of Satan himself. In John chapter 12, verses 42 and 43, it states, "Nevertheless, many even of the authorities believed in him, but for fear of the Pharisees, they did not confess it, so that they would not be put out of the synagogue. For they love the glory that comes from man more than the glory that comes from God." Now, while this is talking about the people that feared the Pharisees, it all goes into the same system of thought. You know, Phariseeism is no different than any other way that people try to attain glory, only it's even more atrocious because it uses religious pretense to seek that end, to seek glory of man. And the people that wanted to believe in Christ, they often wouldn't confess that because they were afraid of the Pharisees. The Pharisees were authorities. As you could see in the case of John, they sent people to ask him questions. They investigated matters of the faith, but their heart was not right. Listen to what Jesus says of the Pharisees in Matthew chapter 23, verses 1 through 7. "And Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, 'The scribes and the Pharisees sit on Moses' seat. So do and observe whatever they tell you, but not the works they do. For they preach, but do not practice. They tie up heavy burdens, hard to bear, and lay them on people's shoulders, but they themselves are not willing to move them with their fingers. They do all their deeds to be seen by others, for they make their phylacteries broad and their fringes long, and they love the place of honor at feasts and the best seats in the synagogues and greetings in the marketplaces, and being called Rabbi by others.' See, everything they do is to fuel their pride, and they do this by having a position of authority in religion." Now, just because the Pharisees were a group of people in Jesus' day does not mean that spirit does no longer exist today. For example, read of Diotrephes early in the Christian church in 3 John verse 9. "I've written something to the church," John says, "but Diotrephes, who likes to put himself first, he seeks the glory of man. He likes to have the praise of man. He likes to be applauded by man. He does not acknowledge our authority. So if I come, I will bring up what he is doing, talking wicked nonsense against us. And not content with that, he refuses to welcome the brothers and also stops those who want to and puts them out of the church." So in this pursuit of pride through the pretense of religion, there's often this sense of intimidation and domineering over people's faith. So Jesus calls these people, it was John the Baptist that calls these people a brood of vipers, meaning you want to stay away from these people. You can walk by a snake and sometimes you don't get bit, but whenever you do, it's deadly. Jesus battled Phariseeism more than anything else as far as a group of people. The tax collectors, the prostitutes, the sinners, Jesus welcomed to him. But he knew that the Pharisees had a hard heart and had no interest in the truth. They were only interested in their position, their authority, and their power.